Um, the ladder of manifestation is thus. You start at an idea. I want to have that next meal. I want to learn telekinesis. I want to develop psychic abilities. I want to have a child. I want to go for a run. And that idea goes to a thought. I'm thinking about this, I'm processing it, I'm visualizing it. And so to take, some higher level of manifestation, um, launching Atlantis Reborn, 10 million person city, after building a temple of Thoth, Aphrodite and Lakshmi, things that I have slated in the next 10 years. So that's a big, big choice, a lot of choices, but it also feels like something in highest alignment. It's been consistent since the idea came in my head, much more consistent than certain types of food choices. So it's interesting looking at a soul and spiritual alignment. Okay, I'm choosing for this life to build the city. That is an ego. Oh, I'm going to build a city. It feels right. Shaving off the parts of the ego that want to feel important and special and stuff. But then when you get down to little choices like be ketogenic or paleo or omnivorous or something else, there's all the stuff with the ego and the super ego conditioning. And some of those choices can actually be a little harder or more confusing, which is it's kind of funny when you think about it. Like the big choices can be easier than the day-to-day little ones. What does that say about what we've learned to process if you get it backwards in school? And so as we elevate on that ladder of manifestation and we go up from thought, you get to hope. Like, I hope this can happen. And then you level up in confidence again. I believe this will happen. There's data and evidence showing I believe it. For any of the examples, going for a run, maybe you've done it before, so you believe in yourself that you can. At Olympic gold, you're very confident, you have resources, support, you've studied it. And then from belief, the next stage is faith. So faith is knowing before there's material evidence. Just use a very, very concise definition of faith. I know it's a deep, deep topic that you can write volumes about. And so that is really the crux of manifestation, bridging the conception into material reality. So if you're a very, very high level yogi, like in Paramahansa Yogananda's book, you can materialize a palace in half a second, like that. And you have the whole thought, the whole conception in your mind. And as soon as it's there, you decide for it to be. And based on your level of awareness and based on something Dr. Dispenza has said that resonates with many traditions in Tibetan Buddhism, you're more wave than particle, you're more light, you're more energy than matter. You can coalesce and direct the structure of energy. And based on the strength of your visualization, concentration, determination, decision, and alignment, to bring in Patanjali's Yoga Sutras for a second, you have the palace. And that faith is so strong and so instant, and you're so high above the time-space, day-to-day reality that you see that palace, and then the next time reality flickers into being every 7-8 times a second, the palace is there. Most of us can't materialize an apple, much less a levitating cat farting sprinkles, which I talk about as, once we're farther along the path, we can do that, no problem. But most of us have a long ways to go. And, making spirituality fun, that's easier to laugh about than, a diamond or a car. But just like I think a lot of teachers say in the wealth circles, if you can manifest $1 or $1 million, it's the same energy. Well, maybe, but belief is where a lot of us get caught on the crooks. A great tool is the Fearless Soul track, Believe in Yourself. And I used to listen to that over and over if I was working on feeling confident enough to shift into something, a belief that something could manifest. Justin Fearman and Jackie Nechtel of the Flow Mastery Institute talk about a belief clearing exercise. And so that can also help in magic and take you up this ladder of manifestation. And so just to wrap with this question, as we're working to choose to manifest and edit this reality, edit this hologram by observing very strongly, including the emotional, astral, energetic plane and all the dimensions with it, what makes that right or wrong? It's your personal morality of what is aligned with your highest self as truth in this moment and what supersedes what. Is that higher than this yin-yang model? I believe so, because when you have two paradoxical truths, either they're two sides of the same coin or one takes precedence. Don't kill people is a rule most of us think is important, but if that person was about to kill 100,000 people and they've done, deeds most people would call evil, you could say it's a good deed to kill that person. So, back to highest self, stepping away from ego, I feel is the ideal arbiter in any individual type of choice.
Man, that's awesome. I love that. I've never heard of the ladder of manifestation before, and I really enjoy that. I think that there is another element because I really like it. So it starts with the idea. idea pops in, then you like are having continuous thoughts. I would imagine how that goes. Then you have hope, then you have belief, then you have faith, which is like faith, like the belief in yourself, and then faith is like, I don't know if you can distinguish that. And then is it knowing? Is that the end of the ladder? Is that faith? And then, or is it manifestation and knowing? I feel like you talked about an end of it. I just wanted to double check.
So faith and then knowing.
Yes.
So yeah, you're right. So faith is knowing before the physical representation, and then knowing
Mm,
is when it is there. So the
right.
line can be a little bit blurry at those higher levels. And how do you define knowing of something that will happen tomorrow, for example? So that's a very, very wishy thing. But after knowing, I would say you could add the word validation. And I don't include that in the latter because that's actually a trigger word for a lot of people in spiritual communities. But I would say, and I would say to most audiences, validation in consensus reality comes after that. So as we were talking before the show, somebody says they can do something, you believe them or you don't, you need that validation to go up all those steps. And it's one point of view to feel that for that validation to occur, if it's a co-creation for your catasai to disappear and you to allow or will that siddhi, that miracle to appear, say manifesting a crystal out of thin air, and say this just appeared in my hands, I didn't pick it up, but it just materialized, possibly you and I, and very likely in terms of talking about catching real magic on camera, everybody who would view that video, is there sufficient belief, faith, and knowing of a thing to be possible in whatever context? This being can do it, that being's not of high enough awareness, this being's a guru, that being is a, whatever. And so as we shift into collective awakening, we all are the Messiah. We all are that collective guru, and we all work together. And we're shifting from praying to one person and seeing and agreeing on that person is powerful to agreeing on our own unity of power and manifesting stuff together, whether it's a palace or a crystal or a healed body part or anything.
Right. Yeah. Well, I definitely agree with that. I'll phrase it in different words, just the way that my mind's thinking about it, because my background in just kind of understanding how I influence my reality. When I was a teenager, I was like, what do I want to do with my life? I knew I wanted to snowboard, so I had to figure all that out. I had to write it down. I had to go do those things. I had to believe that I could get out there and do this because I had nothing. I didn't know what the hell I was doing. And so I think about the ladder of manifestation. And one thing that I wanted to add on is like, I think that we have a lifetime to manifest the thing that we want. We live in a society where it's instant gratification, instant apple in hand, but we are in the third dimension right now. We can influence things, but it takes time. If you want to master snowboarding with me and you've never snowboarded before, it's going to take you time. If you want to learn and master martial arts, it's going to take you a bit of time. So when we can connect to an idea or a thought or something that we really resonate with, like actually from our heart. It's not financially based. It's not survival based. It's not fear based. It's like expression based. It's like, okay, there's no fear. You're going to have food, water, shelter, everything you need. You don't have to worry about anything. What do you want to do? And I think that when you have that idea of out of scarcity, you can think with that freedom. But I also think that this is what makes this learning in this school a little bit more fun, is knowing that you don't have that safety net. That's what makes it thrilling. That's what makes it a ride. When I go do a backflip over a jump, it's not like I know I'm going to land it. Like, especially the first few, I definitely didn't know if I was going to land it. But it gives you that exhilaration, and it also gives you something that you spoke a little bit about at the beginning, is like that free, or maybe not at the beginning, but that choice. I choose to. And studying with the Native American elder who we talked a little bit about, he's just like, a lot of people will ask me, what is my purpose? And I say, whatever you want, whatever you decide it is. You have spiritual free will here to choose and to create your reality. And so I just wanted to kind of add that, because I think that in that I agree with that idea of the ladder of manifestation. And there's other tools, like writing it down, getting clear on what you want. Visualizing is super important. Feeling it and connecting to the energy. If you could switch my body with another body and they go to do a backflip, they'll do it right away because they have that knowing and they know what it feels like.